Coming up tonight, Singapore updates border measures for travellers flying in from India, Hong Kong, the UK and South Africa.
This morning's accident on the PIE raises questions about safety standards after one migrant worker died and 16 were injured.
And a Singapore teenager makes the Forbes 30 under 30 Asia list. Yep, he's only 19.
This is the Straits Times Newsnight. I'm Chiao Su-en.
Good evening, I'm Dylan Ang. Travellers entering Singapore from India, Hong Kong, the UK and South Africa will be subject to new border measures from 11:59 p.m. on Thursday, April 22nd.
The Ministry of Health says that the changes reflect the current situation in those countries and regions. Given the worsening COVID-19 situation in India, those arriving will have to serve an additional 7-day stay-home notice at their place of residence, following their 14-day SHN at dedicated facilities. The Health Ministry also said that entry approvals for non-Singapore citizens and non-PRs will also be reduced.
Meanwhile, an improving situation in Hong Kong means a reduced SHN period for travellers flying in. They can now undergo a 7-day SHN at their place of residence instead of the original 14. As for the UK and South Africa, long-term pass holders and short-term visitors with recent travel history there will be allowed to enter Singapore with the relevant approvals. They will, however, have to serve an additional 7 days on top of their 14-day SHN as well.
And goodbye QR codes. The compulsory use of safe entry gateway devices in places with large numbers of visitors started yesterday. Malls, cinemas, supermarkets and hospitals are among the more than 2,700 locations that are equipped with the new safe entry system. Visitors can now tap their Trace Together token or phone with the Trace Together app on the devices to register their visit for contact tracing purposes.
And looking at Singapore's COVID-19 situation, a dormitory resident was among the 14 new infections confirmed today. The last time a dorm case was reported was on April 11. The remaining 13 cases were all imported.
A 33-year-old man travelling on the back of a lorry carrying migrant workers has died after the vehicle collided with a stationary tipper truck along the Pan Island Expressway this morning.
The Straits Times understands that all 17 passengers are foreign workers who work for Bright Asia Construction. Now, the man died of injuries in hospital, while the other 16 workers were also taken to hospital. A 36-year-old male lorry driver was arrested for careless driving causing death. Today's traffic accident is the latest involving migrant workers and raises questions about Singapore's safety culture. ST's senior transport correspondent Christopher Tan tells us how such accidents could be avoided in the future.
In my opinion and in my observation over the years, I think it is an oddity that, we still ferry workers on the back of trucks. I think the ideal situation would be to ferry them, to bus them around. Now, especially now, logistically, there are spare capacity for buses, right? We don't have tourists, we are working from home. So there's plenty of spare capacity. Why don't we start now and try and bus them around? Putting them in buses would be a far safer option. Given that Singapore relies so much on, foreign labor, and there are so many of them around. And the last accident, according to our archives, was just in December. And we are seeing too frequent, I think, in my opinion, too frequent accidents involving foreign workers on the back of trucks.
Now in other news tonight, introducing the pride of Singapore's airmen. The next generation A330 multi-role tanker transport is now fully operational and able to carry out missions such as transporting personnel across large distances and extending the range of fighter jets. The MRTT will improve the SAF's ability to take part in international humanitarian aid, disaster relief missions, or peace support operations. It can also refuel fighters mid-air, as well as another MRTT. It's also ready for aeromedical operations, like in the event of mass casualty evacuations or the transfer of patients with infectious diseases such as Ebola.
The future is looking electric. SMRT is set to change its entire fleet of 1,700 taxis to electric vehicles within the next 5 years, with the first 300 to arrive progressively from July. They include sedans, vans and buses, among others.
And speaking of cars, if you're a fan of the Fast and Furious franchise, it's time to buckle up. Fast and Furious 9 is revved up and ready to blast into Singapore cinemas on May 26th, 31 days ahead of its US release.
In fact, if that still isn't soon enough for you, fans in Singapore can be the first in the world to catch this much-anticipated action blockbuster even earlier during Super Sneaks starting from May 21st. Get excited!
Now let's take a look at what's been trending on social media today. So Dylan, what were you doing at 19?
I think just preparing to go to Tekong for my national service and dreading going botak.
Well, while most of us were still awaiting university or NS, some have already made a name for themselves. One example, just 19 and he has made the Forbes 30 under 30 list this year. Harsh Dalal is the co-founder and CEO of Singapore-based software company Team Labs, which employs 120 people across 6 countries, including Singapore. When he was just 13, he and other teenage app developers he met online from Norway, Russia and the US started the software company just for kicks. In September 2019, Team Labs raised $8 million from investors. And although the other co-founders have since moved on, Harsh serves as the CEO while he earns his diploma at the Singapore Polytechnic. Very impressive.
You probably have heard of Clubhouse by now, and it seems like a serious competitor is on its way. Facebook announcing that it will roll out a series of audio features in the next few months. This will include live audio rooms that will allow people to listen and participate in live conversations just like Clubhouse, as well as a new feature called Soundbites where users can create and share short audio clips. Perhaps more interestingly though is Stars, where users can send donations or tips to creators in live audio rooms. Will you use it? What are your thoughts? Let us know in the comments below.
Now remember these shirtless guys hanging around along Orchard Road a few years ago? Well, this is a sight we will probably no longer see, as American casual wear brand Abercrombie and Fitch announces its closure of its Singapore store on May 2nd. In an Instagram post, the company did not state the reason for the closure of the store, located at the Knightsbridge Mall along Orchard Road. Looks like the end of an era for A&F here.
Before we go, here's a first look at ShangChi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, Marvel's first ever all-Asian superhero movie starring Canadian actor Simu Liu as the martial arts extraordinaire. Joining Liu as part of the film's cast are stars like Tony Leung, Awkwafina and Michelle Yeoh. The movie is currently slated for a September 3rd release, but with all the film delays due to the pandemic, guests will just have to wait and see.
Well, it looks amazing. I mean, talk about representation, right? Plus, I'm a big, fan of Simu Liu, so I'd love to meet Kim's Convenience. Excited for it.
I didn't watch that show, but I'm just excited about all things Marvel, to be honest.
Well, that wraps up the Straits Times Newsnight. Do visit straitstimes.com to see more news and videos.
You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel by hitting the button below. Have a great evening. We'll see you tomorrow.